So I'm going to discuss color theory and euphoria for episode 2 and 3. And we'll start off with this kitchen scene. If you guys have been watching, you know that a lot of the color decor in Cassie and Nate's home is yellow. And it's also very 60s and 70s coated with the design element, the styling element in the home. Now, in film, the color yellow represents hope and a very hopeful feeling. Also, yellow is a very attention grabbing color, and it is a color that deeply encourages people to concentrate on it. Also, as you guys can see, the kitchen does include white borders. In film, the color white symbolizes pureness and sometimes a rebirth or a new start. As you guys can see, the housekeeper is also wearing yellow and white, and they have spent a significant of time showcasing her, and also her wearing the white apron does seem to show like her childlike nature, especially in how she so innocently, perceivably films Cassie for her content. So the yellow in the house seems to represent the desperation and deep desire and hope of Cassie to make her relationship with Nate work out. It also seems to represent the desperation and deep hopefulness of Nate for his professional work to work out. So, in this scene, the house looks like it's something that should be perfect. It looks like a home that great care was taken into decorating. However, although they did just throw a party, the sink is full of dishes and there's one housekeeper. So there's no group of caterers taking their things with them and making sure that the kitchen is left looking nicely. There's one person there. So I think that represents the cracks in their hopefulness and what is being sold to their colleagues as wealth. Also, if you look on the island in the kitchen, right behind the yellow mustard is ketchup, which is red. And in film, the color red represents passion. And you can barely see that ketchup in there, which seems to represent this tiny amount of passion in their relationship that is still significant because ketchup is a significant kitchen element and it goes on everything. It makes lots of yellow food like french fries taste better. It elevates french fries. But again, in all of that yellow, it's so small, which I think represents the prevalent but simultaneous lack of passion in their relationship. Next, let's focus in on the green and the blue in the background. Take a look at the left side of the screen at the green glassware in the back. That looks very similar to uranium infused glass, which was radioactive and sold in the 60s and 70s. Now, in film, green represents unwellness. And that seems to signify the radioactive nature that is underlying and in the background of Cassie and Nate's relationship. Also, there is a singular pink cup there, which pink is a muted or diluted version of red, which also could seem to represent the muted or diluted passion of Cassie. Take a look on the right side of the screen. Now, you might have also noticed that there are two green glass containers on the side because both Cassie and Nate are radioactive. On the right side, there are two blue cups. Now, blue in film represents calmness and serenity. And that seems to represent their deep desire for calmness, for simplicity, but they cannot seem to find it. And of course, you also see another fluorescent green bottle right behind the blue cups. And also, there are a bowl of lemons behind those items, which could represent them trying to make lemonade out of lemons. Also, I think that the housekeeper represents people trying to hide things, but someone such as a housekeeper knowing what's really going on, because Nate is trying to hide their financial discrepancies, but the housekeeper probably can see that their money is not as well as he would like it to be. So she's kind of asking him, like, is he sure that he wants to throw away all that food? Like, she's asking every single item, and he's becoming annoyed, but she may be trying to communicate like that she doesn't think it's a good idea to throw out all that food because they're already struggling financially. Really quickly, you can see Cassie entering the kitchen in pink and white. Her for her dress, that seems to represent her constantly trying to reintroduce passion into their relationship. And here you can see her asking him if he's happy now. Because although she's trying to reintroduce passion through herself, she also desperately wants to make him happy. And she doesn't want to compromise. She's compromising begrudgingly. But this scene represents her trying to make him happy, but then also exercise boundaries on what she wants. Now, here you see that green again, and it's a cookie jar, which is something you eat out of, and that could show that they're partaking in radioactive behavior. They're digesting radioactive behavior. His friend over there is wearing yellow, possibly to represent his hopefulness for that Nate is going to deliver on all the money that he invested, but also that he's deeply concentrating on the dynamics of Nate and Cassie's relationship. Now, Nate is wearing a white shirt, and if you look closely, there are tiny black lines around the arms and along the collar. That seems to represent him trying to be pureful, him trying to rebirth, and him trying to rebirth his business, but he's being silently strangled by this power source demanding money from him, because in film black represents power and authority and sometimes darkness. Then here you see the investor friend's wife wearing white and black in her outfit. The white in the outfit seems to represent her perceivable pureness as a woman and how she's using that to get information from Cassie, but then the black of the outfit seems to represent her also being and demanding in a powerful way answers, and demanding that her husband also demand answers about what's going on with the money. Also, take a quick look at the housekeeper in the back, being nosy, so she know what's going on. Come back for part two, and I'll discuss the wedding.